Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I am absolutely so excited today. We have another cast with the Special Olympics of Colorado. We have Megan Scremin back in the house. She is a huge part of the team. She's the CEO. I'm going to introduce her in 1 second, or reintroduce, I should say. And we have a new athlete. We had Mackenzie last time, and now we have Tim Sharpe. So I'm going to give his quick 4-1 as well. But the Special Olympics cover so much ground. If you really want to get into the details and want to know, go listen to our first cast. My friend, one of my best friends from college, Paula, and I did the polar plunge this past year at the reservoir, and it was amazing. I think my first encounter with Megan was us about to get into the water. So I was kind of zoned out and I didn't even know that it was her, but we had our name on a card and she's like, "Hey, Kristen." I was like, "Hey, oh my God, does she know our name?" Even though I know they have our name cards. I was just freaked out because we were about to get into freezing cold water. Anyways, it was amazing. And they've got a new event coming up this year that Paula and I, and hopefully her fiance and all her friends and my friends are going to come do. So without further ado, I'm going to give a quick 4-1 on the Special Olympics, and then I'm going to let these guys talk from there. So the mission of the Special Olympics of Colorado is to provide year-round sports training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic-type sports for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, giving them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in sharing of gifts, skills, and friendship with their families, other Special Olympic athletes, and the community. And just to give you an idea of their impact, it's truly, truly amazing. There's over 15,000 athletes, 3,000 unified partners, 8,000 young athletes, 21 offered sports, 410 plus unified schools, 1,000 plus coaches, 9,000 plus volunteers, 40,000 plus annual coaching hours, 400,000 plus youth impacted statewide. I can go on. I'm tripping over my words. There's so much, but there's so much positive impact. Without further ado, Megan and Tim, welcome to the Turmeric and Tequila mic.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you.
Megan, here's Megan's quick bio, and she has done so many incredible things. She's an all-around rock star, but she joined the Special Olympics in 2013 as a vital part of the leadership team, resulting in exceeded revenue goals and programmatic development and expansion. Her role has committed to ensuring 15,000 plus individuals of the Special Olympics of Colorado serves and has access to a variety of highly qualified and life-changing programming. My phone's a little slow as I read this, so sorry I'm jumping over my words. But Megan, welcome back.
Glad to be here. Appreciate it. And thanks for polar plunging and plane pulling with us.
Yes. Has there been any updates since I've seen you right before I was about to jump into the freezing lake?
Cranking away. So since we saw you, we completed a winter season. So at Special Olympics, as you mentioned, we have 21 sports over 4 different seasons. So we had our winter season. We then had our summer season our spring season that culminated with our state summer games. And now we are in the middle of our summer season that will culminate with not 1, but 3 state summer classic events. So we've really been participating in sports. A ton of athletes, including Tim, have been competing in their sport across the state.
I love it. And I'm so excited to have Tim. It's so wonderful to always have the business humans behind the cause, even when it's a 501c3, in the mix. But then we get to see like our actual humans that are benefiting from this cause and seeing what's going on. So Tim, let me introduce you really quick, just so people have some background. Okay. Tim has competed with the Special Olympics for 35 years in sports, including cross country, basketball, soccer, golf, softball, and volleyball. His favorite sports are golf and softball. Tim says that the Special Olympics has impacted his life by helping him with his self-esteem, teaching him to work as a team. Tim was the Male Athlete of the Year in 2001 and earned a spot as a golfer on Team USA Colorado for the Special Olympics World Summer Games in North Carolina. He serves as a fitness coordinator to promote health and wellness to his fellow athletes and mentors other athletes serving in that role. His spare time, he is an avid Bronco fan, go Broncos, and serves on the Athlete Input Council. So Tim, welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. It's really exciting to have you.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me. Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
And
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I think one of the exciting things about Special Olympics, I know I wish I had this as a collegiate athlete, is you get to play for as long as you want to. There's no graduation point. There's no ending point. So 35 years, competing, how's your body holding up? My body's pretty beat up and I haven't played any of my sports of 35 years yet.
That's pretty good. I just keep exercising and do walks for Colorado Springs, my hometown, and I just keep just eating more healthier too. So
Nutrition's
Tim
always
is
a piece
one
of it.
and Tim is an amazing fitness captain and a health leader for not only himself, but all of his teammates. Tim, do you want to share a little bit about all of the great work you've done as a fitness captain?
kind of just trying to get all my teammates more healthier and to off the field and on the field. So it's been amazing.
Well, tell us a little bit about the role of the fitness captain.
It gets kind of hard to explain. It's to get athletes to be more healthier and to get them active, to get them off the couch and to do outside stuff and just to do walks around the neighborhood or just we exercise before practices and before games, and then it lifts our spirits up. So yeah.
So many important details. So there are so many important details that Tim mentioned there about that role, because traditionally Special Olympics, like so many sports, you come and you practice in your sport, where it's very much working on those sport specific skills. Whereas Tim in his role really encourages athletes to build up their fitness, nutrition, all of those other things that need to take place before, during, and after practice, as opposed to just what happens during, the hour that you're there practicing. And so it's an important leadership position. And I think it's also, it says a lot when it's coming from a peer, a fellow athlete, as opposed to your coach always telling you, go for a walk or don't, put down that soda, as opposed to when you have your peer, your teammate, like Tim, telling you, it goes a lot longer, a lot further.
Absolutely. Well, that's got to be exciting now. I think the last time we spoke, we were coming off the pandemic and, every business, especially I want to say the philanthropic situations were scrambling during 2020 because everything was shut down. And outside of, the business logistics and trying to keep the funds coming in and everything moving, we all kind of lost a sense of community. How has it been since then to get everybody back in person, practicing again, having in-person meetings, really just to be around each other?
It's really been hard, but we worked out a family to get the team back together. We follow social distancing. We do mask at every practice, but it's bringing our team closer together and in a good way. And I mean, we even started I'm actually on a bocce team for Denver this year for the board of directors. Since I became a member of the board of directors for Colorado. So it's been kind of cool to try new sports too. So.
Always learning. I love it. How's it been for you, Megan?
Really, really working to find that balance, trying to find that balance between making sure we're offering that community, because we really know how important it is. I know personally how much I miss seeing athletes, coaches, my coworkers in person. And so we've been getting back to our office, which is really nice. It allows for so much more collaboration and brainstorming. We're a very small office. And so when we're kind of stuck behind screens all the time, it becomes hard. You're so focused on what you need to do during that screen time that there's less of the, how's your week been going? What's been going on? And so from a staff perspective, I think that allows us to be more creative, more collaborative. And then of course, seeing athletes at practice and competition means the world to all of us. It really kind of fills our cup back up and make sure we can see why we're here and why we work so hard. So that's been really, really nice. But of course, COVID is still comes into play. Many of our athletes are still more likely to be more severely impacted by COVID should they get it, because they're compromised. And so we want to make sure we're following really strict safety guidelines. And so Tim is a great leader in that. His entire team have done a great job of showing that we can still compete, try new sports while following the best we could do on our safety.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, some COVID has obviously pushed us all in certain directions and forced us to innovate. But one of the things I really like is that it is having us all check in with the things we can control, our nutrition, our sleep, even supplements that, you can take that help you keep healthy. So you're naturally more resistant to the virus and to things going on. And it's something that, we all have to balance with masks and social distancing, like you said. But that's also kind of hard when you're competing and everyone, you're kind of close to each other, even with masks, but I guess we're doing the best we can do. But it also does make us appreciate being back together and being back in the office or on the field, and being back together. Now that we're back in motion, how has that impacted the events and all the fundraisers that you guys have been doing?
I think we've had to get really creative. We think outside the box. And fortunately, we've been able to do things just differently. So the plane pull, as an example, we'll ask people to wear masks. And as opposed to having everyone come together at one time, you'll come in different times where it's more staged. And we've really been able to do the same thing with our competitions, to have more time trial type competitions where athletes are coming for their particular competition. We also have done a lot of innovative work around health and fitness. So as an example, our state summer games, we had a strong mind station where athletes were given, once they competed, they could come and go through that strong mind station. And that's all focused on emotional wellness, stress coping, which is critical as we've been going through this. And so it's been really neat. And examples of things where there was a yoga station and a meditation station. And so competitions, fundraisers, we've really had to innovate and think outside the box, but it's been fun. And a lot of new things that will keep for good have come out of that. So that's always a positive for sure.
That's amazing. Tim, did you start any new sports or do anything different once COVID hit, since you had to kind of choose some other angles or other options?
Just been trying to just do more walking and just keep. It was kind of hard because you see friends and they're used to hugs and all that. And I was like, no, we do air fives instead of high five. We do air five. So it's been kind of cool. So I did try during the pandemic. I tried kayaking, and I just bought my first kayak. So it's pretty cool. Wait to get it out on the water.
That's amazing. Okay, my mom actually just got paddleboard, so we all got one, and we grew up water skiing actually, and I forgot how wonderful it was to be on the water. But we see a lot of the kayakers and whatnot. Are you good? This is a kind of maybe a silly question, but are you good about getting your boat strapped onto your car and everything, or is it a blow up version?
The first one I had, my friend gave it to me, and it was one where you sit in. And it was kind of scary because it's like on water, it's kind of like, okay, but the one I just bought, it's where you sit on. So I feel more comfortable on the one that you sit on, and it's more balanced too. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's a whole skill set I had forgotten, and all the logistics around it are pretty intense. Tim, did you do the polar plunge? Speaking of water?
Yes, I did. I did too. I did the one up in Aurora, and then we did the one in Colorado Springs where we ran into a foam machine. So it was
that's
cool. So
okay, Megan, did you end up jumping in the water?
I did the Colorado Springs one, the foam. No, I didn't this year. Now I'm saying, I think I did. No, I didn't. I have done it many times though.
Well, I actually
called out. I will plane pull and I raise money.
Acceptable, yeah.
Wait a minute,
well, here's the thing.
What am I saying? Okay, I did get buckets of water dumped on my head, so I did do that. I didn't plunge into the water. That was one. How quickly I forget. I got a bucket of water dumped on my head, and then a bucket of powdered sugar dumped on my head. So two things.
Interesting. The powdered sugar is kind of aggressive.
Very creative with our polar plunges. So yes. So talk about innovating with the polar plunge. Instead, we didn't have bodies of water like we did in Aurora or Boulder. So in Denver and Colorado Springs, we did a polar plunge roulette. So some of the options were foam machine, as Tim mentioned, powdered sugar, cold water, soda. Right. Things of that nature.
Okay. I actually think you had it harder because you were
announcing.
Did have
to absolutely think outside the box.
Yeah, no, I mean, which is great. I would say the powdered sugar, that's I'm like, did somebody have powdered sugar on hand? But I forgot that it was a roulette situation. But when we were at the Aurora Reservoir, you were outside. And if I remember correctly, the weather was kind of brutal and you were out there for like 4 or 5 hours. So I think we had it easier where you get in, get out, and like that's it. But you were like out there braving the storm the whole time.
So that is something that is different where it's nice for the participant because you have your assigned plunge time, you come, you go, and then that's it. For the staff working it, what was, an hour and a half long event is now like
Yeah.
an 8 hour long event. Same thing with the plane pull. It becomes a much longer day, but safety first. So we are happy to save the elements and be out there for a longer period of time because we could not do what we do without the support of the entire community. People coming, I mean, I'm kind of laughing about it now, but getting soda and powdered sugar and foam and cold water dumped on your head or running into that, it may seem like something that takes a short amount of time, but the impact can be felt for a long time to come. So we really do appreciate everyone doing it.
And the lake in Aurora was cold, but we did it. So we even had one of our Denver Broncos into it too. So it was kind of cool to see the reaction of people, like when they hit that water, they're like, okay, just run in, do high fives, and then run back in, run them right. So it was pretty cool.
Yes. Did you put your head in, Tim?
No.
No. Okay.
I was like, I just ran in and tried to do high five, but kind of got stuck going kind of halfway in because of the water, but it was like, okay, but yeah. It was pretty cool.
I love it. Good for you. Yeah.
You were fully in, right?
Yeah.
Kristen, you went fully in, right?
Yeah. Well, I told my friend Paula, we were discussing it before. I'm like, are you going to go in? She's like, well, no. And I'm like, well, my hair's gross anyways. I might as well, if we're going to go in, we're going to go in. And she's like, nah, she's like, well, I'll do it if you do it. So of course, then I was like, of course I'm going to do it. But it was logistically, it was so funny because you had to leave like your robe and your towel behind you, stand in the cold to get ready to get into the water. And then when we came back, we kept losing our car keys. The whole day was like, we had an absolute blast. And I have to agree, the volunteers, the execution of the event, I've done a ton of events, was phenomenal. And again, there was rain and stuff. The volunteers knew what was going on. They got us in, they got us out. Everything was organized. And there was a run going and a dip into the lake. So it was like 2 events in one. So I was super impressed, but myself as a participant and my friend, we were a hot mess because we couldn't find the car keys. And then we were like frozen after the run, but then frozen going to the lake. It all worked out. We had a blast, but we kind of operate like that since college. So it's Romy and Michelle out here. We're good.
I hear you though. I mean, I started at Special Olympics as our events director overseeing our polar plunge series. And time after time, I would send people emails. When you're plunging, bring your shoes, bring a towel, bring a change of clothes. That's what you need to do. I show up in my first year, I have none of those things. I was like, what? And I did it. And I'm like, I have no towel. I had no change of clothes. Like, what were you thinking? So I've learned the more I've done it. It's probably my ninth or 10th plunge season. But
well, we're ready for next year, to say the least. Like, we know now the process. Okay, so well, on that note, tell us, what do we need for the plane pull so I can set a designated spot for everybody's keys and all the shoes we need or whatever. Like, tell us about the plane pull event.
A ton of fun. So we have 2 plane pulls actually going on this year. One in Broomfield at Rocky Mountain Airport, which will be fun. Teams of 15 people for that one. Up to 15 are pulling an airplane across the tarmac. And so it's a race to see which team can pull the plane 15 feet the fastest. So that's a really fun element to it. And I will tell you, a trick of it is make sure you get pulling before they, do the 3, 2, 1 countdown. And it's harder than it looks. I mean, it's a challenge. Let me say, I watch many teams do it. They make it look easier than when I do it. So if they make it look easy and then I get on to pull, I'm like, oh, this is heavy. But it's a lot of fun. So in addition to the plane pull, we'll have lots of fun vendors and activities going on, activities for kids, adults, you name it. So it's a fun day to come out. And then Colorado Springs will be on September 18th at the World War II Museum in Colorado Springs. So that'll have a unique feel to it as well. But we really could use teams joining. It's $1,000 fundraising minimum for a team in Broomfield of 15 and in Colorado Springs for a team of up to 10 people. And we just vary the size of the team based on how heavy the plane is. We wouldn't want to make it too easy for anyone. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
It doesn't look easy to me at all. It looks super fun. And I think it's going to be really cool social media. I hate to say it, but that's the truth for some people. Are going to, obviously we're raising money for a good cause. It's great humans. But it's really cool pictures. Like you were literally pulling a plane. I think it looks hard and I'm here for all my fitness humans. But it's really like a cool thing. There is actually a CrossFit gym out, I think where the Broomfield event's happening, which is close to my house. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The backdrop is gorgeous. And then, but I actually signed up with my friend Paula and our crew for the Colorado Springs event, just because of dates and logistics and whatnot. So I'm excited to see that venue. Is anybody doing both events? Does that happen a lot?
First year that we've had the Colorado Springs Plunge. But if we use plain pole or polar plunge as an example, we have lots of people like Tim who do multiple events throughout the state. So I think we'll have certainly a few teams that will do both. Tim, are you going to do both? What do you think?
I'm going to try.
Yay.
It depends on the financial part of it. It's kind of tricky right now.
You join our SOCO team.
Okay,
So
cool.
You can join us there. Yeah, and I should say it does look hard. I think it looks hard until I see some teams do it. I'm like, oh, they just did this in 10 seconds. They made it look easy, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not as strong as they are.
Yeah, well,
Megan, the first year I did it, we pulled in Colorado Springs. We pulled a FedEx 747, and it was really tricky. And then they realized that they had the plane facing uphill instead of thing, so they had to turn the plane around to face it down the tarmac. So it was crazy.
Oh, did you get a good workout?
And
yeah.
What'd you say?
We do test polls. We've now learned we do test polls to make sure that we've got perfectly level ground, and all in the category of lessons learned. That's for sure.
Well, the events you guys put on are no joke. I mean, there's some major logistics behind this. So even in the polar plunge, I think you had the fire department out there making in the water, like they were standing in the water, obviously in drier wetsuits and high-fiving us, as Tim said, as we plunged in. But like, there's so many logistics to these things. I was deeply impressed with events background of how many moving parts there were and then how well the execution was. Have you guys seen an uptick in numbers? I feel like now that, the pandemic is quote unquote over-ish, not really, but now that we're out and be able to be around each other, have people been like signing up? Like, have you seen numbers come up? I went to the airport and I saw like 1 million humans. So I feel like people are ready to rock and roll.
In some ways, it's interesting. Plain pole, in many ways, we get a lot of corporate teams. And so we had a ton of teams sign up. There are still some out there like, we don't feel comfortable doing this. And so
sure.
It's a little bit of both. Polar plunge, I think we actually had pretty good numbers in terms of participants, relatively speaking, and certainly by comparative to what we were expecting. I think people were ready to go outside, do something fun, support a great cause, do something new and different. So far, we're expecting really great turnout for both of our plane pools. And we're also seeing the same thing on the competition side, so on our sports programs. We have an amazing, talk about the logistics, all the logistics and details that go into our fundraising events. And there are so many of them. And we have an incredible events director, Alexandra. And then on the competitive program side, it's interesting. We are very much an events company. We have all of our fundraising events, and then our bread and butter, which are the hundreds of competitions and tournaments that we have a year. And so we have an incredible team that runs those as well. And with 21 different sports over 4 seasons, there's always a lot of logistics that go into those. But it's been nice for even just our upcoming State Summer Classic. We're expecting about 600 athletes for the one just in the Denver Northeast Front Range. So we're starting to see more and more athletes come back to the competition side of things as well. So probably holistically, we'll have about 1,000 athletes that participate in those summer state events, which will be nice.
Wow. I'm continuing. This is our second conversation as I've dove further into everything you guys have been going on and the amount of humans that you have involved for like such a duration. It's just such a living, breathing thing that's just miraculous. And you can see the impact. Tim, 35 years, has your experience with the Special Olympics over the years changed, or have you just grown to love it more and more as time goes on?
I'm going to love it more since I'm more involved now. It's really cool to see. It gives you strength to be around friends and family, to like we said, we're all a bigger family, and we help them off the field and on the field. So it's amazing to be part of this a great organization. So
Absolutely. The community just seems remarkable, and you guys are not a huge team. So again, it's just all the more kudos to everybody behind the infrastructure, making it go round. Megan, you've been in the mix now for a long time. What are some things you're looking forward to now that some restrictions are lifting off, but plans that you have? Like, tell me what's coming up that you're really excited about.
Very excited to be back to competition, to see athletes doing what they do, compete in sports. Off the field, though, so we've always said that Special Olympics, kind of sports is at the core of what we do. And we use sports as a catalyst to do so much more. So we have athlete leadership programming for athletes like Tim, where Tim's getting the opportunity to become more comfortable and confident in assuming that leadership role. We have school-based programming. So this year we have a big goal to continue expansion of our school-based programming. We're already in currently 425 schools, but we want to expand even more, particularly into like Denver public schools, Aurora public schools, both the urban setting and then also the rural setting. So we have really big goals there and a lot of great opportunity to reach more. We have a health and wellness program that we talked about, everything coming up where we do a lot of health screenings. I was actually just on a meeting before talking about adding vision and health screenings or vision and hearing screenings to an upcoming competition. So that's really fun. But one thing where we're very excited, it's called a unified leadership training. So over this past year and a half, we went through a strategic planning process. And a big part of our strategic planning process was a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so we have 3 pillars of our plan. The first 2 really talk about expanding our reach. So making sure we are reaching out to people all across the state of all abilities, of all backgrounds, and inviting them to join us. Our second pillar is really about making sure that we are inclusive. So that's, really the diversity pillar. The second is making sure that we are inclusive. So all the programs that we have are inclusive of everyone, that when you come here, everyone gets that sense of belonging and family that Tim mentioned. So those are more inward facing, like things that we need to do. And this third pillar is all about positioning Special Olympics as someone who can go out into the community and showcase the incredible abilities of people with intellectual disabilities. So often in that diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation, intellectual difference isn't included. Yet people with disabilities are a marginalized community. So really something I'm very excited about, it's called Unified Leadership Training, and we're going out to companies free of charge and it's a co-facilitated session. So it's unified, meaning me, someone without an intellectual disability, works alongside someone with an intellectual disability, and we co-facilitate a session for a company. It could be for any community, any organization who wants to learn more. And the goals of the training are threefold. One, to make sure that people walk away with more knowledge about intellectual disabilities. The second is to make sure that they have more confidence and comfort in interacting and communicating with people with disabilities. And the third is a willingness to advocate and some easy ways to advocate. And so that can range from anything small, like changing the language you use, educating yourself on disability, to big, hiring someone with an intellectual disability. So that's a program that we've recently launched that I'm very, very excited about. And it puts athletes and disability in the spotlight, which is needed.
Absolutely. Now, when you say like companies, is this like a corporate initiative? Like you're going into like business situations? Does this include schools? I know you guys already have the unified program with schools. You're targeting schools, but is it 2 different things?
So what's cool about this training is it's palatable and it's easy. So we've done it to library systems. As an example, libraries interact with people, anyone who interacts with the community. Companies. So that would be another group where they could employ someone. They want to further their organizational goals around diversity, equity, and inclusion. They themselves want to be more inclusive. So it really could work for absolutely anyone that interacts with any human being. It's meant to be, yes, while we are talking about disability, it really can translate to all differences. And it's really about being more inclusive.
Absolutely. Which obviously, I mean, we're late to the game as a society as a whole, but you saw that in 2020 around race and gender and everything coming up. And I see an explosion of consultants coming out around diversity and inclusion in all capacities. And I love that I'm seeing these companies, corporations, because I really do think the dollar makes the world go round, fortunately and unfortunately. So you need your big dogs, your big spenders to adapt some of this as kind of like community leaders. So I'm really excited to see some of these big players, the Googles, the Apples, big food, big pharma, really starting to embrace this conversation and then strategically implement strategy. And I get really excited when it's someone like you guys coaching and teaching and providing that consultation versus another company coming up with that idea, scrambling to learn how to do it, sort of educating themselves, where you guys eat, sleep, and breathe it and live it. And then you can coach and teach and consult accordingly. So I'm super excited to hear about that. And I can't wait to hear, perhaps if we cast again, how that's gone, because I think those steps will just push forward mainstream evolution exponentially.
Such an important conversation, which I in begin the conversation with, like, Mackenzie is the person who I actually co-facilitate with, and we open it saying, I'm here, Mackenzie's here sharing her lived experience, and I'm here sharing learned experience. And by no means am I an expert. I'm learning every day from people like Tim and Mackenzie and so many others, better language to use, how to be more inclusive, and I think it's a really unique perspective to have us as co-facilitators delivering this information, and in a very, I think, transparent but vulnerable way, that Sure. We all have things to learn and ways to improve, but we're taking a step, we're starting the conversation, and that's important.
I love it. Well, it's needed on so many levels, as you guys know. Tim, are you comfortable in these leadership roles outside off the field? I mean, it sounds like you're put in front of some really important people, and you get to lead and facilitate some really important conversation.
Yes, I feel more comfortable than I've ever have. Same to Mackenzie and Megan. They're more of my mentors on the field and off the field too. So it's really amazing.
Absolutely. I love that. And any, great athlete or great human being knows it takes a full spectrum of life to really be quote unquote successful, meaning like healthy and happy and achieve self-actualization. You need sport or physical fitness, something, you need community, you need nutrition, you need mental health and wellness. It's a full package deal to really, be an optimized human and be in happy space. I think a great example of that was Simone Biles, and watching her in the 5-ring Olympics, if I'm saying that correctly. Have you guys watched any of the competitions that have gone on in the Olympics?
Yeah, I try to catch some of them at night, just because during the day we're out and about walking and stuff. Sure. I think the most cool, the sharpshooters, the shooting one where they're shooting thing, and we actually had a gold medal lady from Colorado Springs take the first gold medal in sharpshooting, I think, whatever it's called, so from Colorado Springs. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, we have so many Colorado athletes. I mean, we're a pretty healthy, fitness, active state, but it's been amazing to see how many athletes out there and how many new sports we have. Surfing, I think it's trap and skeet. I know the woman you're talking about. The fast wall climbing was happening today. It's just so cool to see the exposure and how committed everybody is to their personal sport. Megan, did you catch any of it? Did you have a favorite?
I have not caught any of it. I've seen little bits, which is terrible. It's been in the office. I have 2 little kids at home.
Sure.
And love my job and love my kids, and they both keep me very busy. And so I need to spend more time. I've seen it on in the office, and I get up on the headlines. Like, I have, of course, followed Simone Biles' story, which is remarkable. Like, the bravery that she has shown and courage, I think is something that's so noteworthy and that's such a good example for so many. Have I seen the actual competition? No, but I do know that they added rugby. I think that was a new sport, and I used to play rugby, so I should have spent more time watching that. I love all the sports, and I truly am a sports fan, but I haven't.
Well, the time difference is. Yeah, the time difference is hard, and catching it, like a lot of it, there was like the pre-qualifiers and the qualifiers and then the finals, and I've been catching like spurts of it, but then they were kind of, because of the time difference, the spoiler alert in the morning, and then the race was at night, so it was kind of like, well, this, or yeah, I could catch up on work, or, and I've tried to catch as much as I can, just because it's phenomenal to see. I think I asked you this in the last cast, do the Special Olympics and the Olympics, do you guys coordinate any sort of functions together, or is there any sort of, I know it's two different organizations, but is there anything or any space where you guys do collaborate?
Not a ton. There's 3 organizations that can use the term Olympics: the 5-ring Olympics, the Paralympics, and Special Olympics. Paralympics and the 5-ring Olympics, they overlap a bit more than we do. The ways that I have seen would be sometimes Special Olympics. So there are World Games and like we have Special Olympics, USA Games coming up. We could test run facilities or venues for them, but for the most part, we don't have that much overlap, which makes it extra confusing because we're here in Colorado.
Sure.
And the Olympic training, is in Colorado Springs. So we do get more confused, I think, than our counterparts in other states probably do.
Sure. Well, it really is 2 different setups.
Although there is, we really try to have Olympic type sports where athletes have the opportunity to medal like you would in the 5-ring Olympics. Our USA Games 3 years ago now, we held our training camp at the US Olympic Center in Colorado Springs. So that was a great collaboration and fun for the athletes that were training for that game, those games as well.
I love that. And I think there is some logistical information one can learn off the other, but I do see how it is like 2 different situations, and how everyone's got to kind of get their home base in order. Cause they're 2 massive machines, but the beautiful thing is the through line of all 3 is it's for sports and the love of the game and the way life skills are facilitated through sport. It's so cool to see these athletes from different countries that likely don't even speak the same language, cheering each other on or putting the medals on each other's neck because the person passing out can't touch them this year. It's just really cool to see like these really human connections come through sport. And I think that's something you see in all 3 legs of the Olympics. That's like the binding base. And I think at very minimum, that's enough. And everyone's kind of has the same mission at heart of what's going on. As you guys plan for the rest of 2021 and 2022, is there anything community-wise outside of the events that you guys are really excited about getting the crew back together, or like smaller community events?
Push for us will actually just be doing outreach to make sure every athlete or potential athlete out there knows who Special Olympics is, what we do. And that really means like going to different communities throughout the state to introduce ourselves and make sure everybody knows we're a resource here. We want you to join our community. So that will be big for us. A big push moving forward is to make sure that we're just doing that important outreach. As we get back into the school year, that's a big push for us as well. So we've had great relationships with so many schools for so many years surrounding this Unified Champion Schools program. And what that is, it's really about whenever we say unified, it's people with and without intellectual disabilities. And it's around bringing students with and without disabilities together through sport, through inclusive youth leadership, and then through whole school engagement, where you would hold a pep rally or a campaign where every student in the school makes commitment to include and knows that their school is a unified school. So this will definitely be a building year for us, and we'll take a lot of that personal outreach because schools have really been through the ringer over the past year, even just finding the ability to remain open for the students that they serve. And so now we really want to reform those connections while at the same time building new connections with new schools. So that will be a big thing for us. On the fundraising side, in October, we have our Hall of Fame event, October 13th. And that's a really inspirational event at the Hyatt Regency in Denver, where we will induct our male and female athlete of the year, our volunteer, family, community partner of the year into our Hall of Fame. And that really gives participants the opportunity to get to know athletes, to hear their stories firsthand, to learn a little bit more about what we've been up to and where we're headed. Those are all kind of big focus areas for us that take lots of work really getting into the community.
Absolutely. Is the Hall of Fame event going to be in person, I'm assuming?
person at the Hyatt Regency, October 13th. We are looking at the option if needed. We'll certainly make sure tables are distanced from one another. And if we need, we can extend to having a breakfast and a luncheon option. We're accommodating more people while ensuring that safe distance for everybody. So looking at that, but that's our plan. It makes such a difference when you can hear directly from an athlete who's on a stage, not on a screen. We're happy to do it on a screen, and we certainly will. But if given the opportunity, and it's also really important, our male and female athlete of the year, this is a big deal to Tim knows, to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. And it's it's nice to have people there cheering you on.
My best friend Darren, who's the male athlete of the year this year, he's super excited. He's like, Tim, are you gonna be there? I'm like, yes, I'm gonna try to. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. And so it's like, yeah,
you better be there. You're the best friend. You got to be there, and you've already got the award, so you got to be supportive.
Yeah.
Real question: can you get that award twice?
No.
Just once. Okay.
I don't know. I've only had it once, so it's like, so yeah.
One time because you're actually inducted into the Hall of Fame, but once you're in the Hall of Fame, you're always in our Hall of Fame. So you can go to our website and see everyone who has been inducted every year of the Hall of Fame. So it's a thing. Tim's in it. He'll always be in it. So yeah.
That's amazing. I agree with you. I think the in-person event, just the recognition is phenomenal, but I think the in-person event to see impact, maybe for people or sponsors or supporters or family that maybe aren't as connected, get to see the daily happenings, really understand the impact of this lifelong opportunity to be a part of something bigger, and then help facilitate the younger generations come in and kind of take on different leadership roles and keep this whole ball rolling. Do you have like numbers as far as like participation goals that you have? Because it from a 10,000 foot view, from my perspective, it looks like it's growing so much every year in the reach and the programs. I mean, it just seems like the snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which is beautiful.
Absolutely. So we have that school-based programming. We have young athlete programming, which is for kids 2 to 8. And while we want to grow both of those programs always, we really actually want to focus on what we would call our community-based athletes. So athletes that aren't participating in a school team and are adult. So like the teams that is on, that would be our focus, to really grow the number of athletes and teams, community-based adult teams. And that will take outreach on our part, from our athlete leaders getting out there. And the reason we want to grow is, one, we want to make sure that, like I said, everybody knows about the services we offer and can join the family, the Special Olympics family. Also, this relates to making sure that we have the best experience possible, because we know the more teams that an athlete or team has to compete against that are within their same division, their same age range, the better the experience will be. We don't want to have the same athletes. It's not as much fun if the same athletes from the same team compete against the same team every season. So our goal is to double the number to at least get 4,000 new community-based athletes over the next 5 years. So it's a targeted group of athletes. And again, we're still working on getting growth in all areas, but that community-based adult athlete, we really want to get at least 4,000 new SOCO family members in the next couple of years here.
That's amazing. And you say it can start as young as 2 years old. I think for families with kids that want to participate, or, long-term young teens to adults, it's got to be a phenomenal community and support system for the families to be a part of as well. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that, how your family's involved?
Kind of. My mom, she's been Inspire Nation. She kept our team together even through the bad times and good time. We've had team members lose family members, so we've been there for them. Just recently, one of our athletes lost his dad a few weeks ago.
Wow.
And we've been there to lift his spirits up, and we got him trying to get him more involved. So yeah, it's been cool. So
a perfect example of how his mom serves in the coach role. So they have that familial relationship, but then also, you know, the team, like you said, you're one big family. And so that's really, it's cool to see. And thing I love so much about Special Olympics.
Well, it's such a big piece of life, and we're coming off, such an intense year on so many levels. I think to have that community there, even in digital format where that's different, is just so instrumental. One of the things you guys highlighted on our initial cast was how we're competitive, or showing up to compete, but that sportsmanship aspect is always there, and it's always about having fun, keeping things safe, being supportive. Tim, do you want to tell us, like, did you have one experience where you just thought this is so great? Like, there was such an outstanding example of good sportsmanship that you experienced?
It was in New Jersey, and we were up for the gold medal game, and we kind of fell down, and I was like, come on guys, let's do this. We came all this way from Colorado. Let's do our best. Let's work as a team. And we only lost by 2 points, but just to the experience of team and sportsmanship, we went against the home team in New Jersey for volleyball, but just to be there at nationals, it was an eye opener for all the athletes, especially all the athletes of my team were right here from Colorado Springs. So, and some of them have never even flown before. So just the experience of just being there and in front of everybody, it was amazing to bring more sportsmanship and more team gatherings. So it was cool.
I love that.
Too. I mean, I think, you never want to generalize about anyone, but I think the athletes of Special Olympics have such great sportsmanship. But Tim, you are such a perfect example of great sportsmanship. You always congratulate the other team. Well, exactly straight. You're trying your best, bringing your team up, motivating your team. But then, I see you post messages. We had a great game. Congrats to the other team. Or the other team did a great job tonight. Good job. I mean, I think you have great sportsmanship, and then you take it to the next level, which is always such an good example for your fellow athletes and me as well.
Yeah, gold star influencer. I think that's great. You never know how far those positive vibes, and this is the upside of social media where it can reach so many people you don't even know, but even a small message, you don't really understand how many people see that and then think about it in their own life. And they're like, man, I could be like more like Tim and extend a little extra kindness, go the mile, and then go the extra mile to just be kind and generous. And this is what I love about sports so much. I'm an athlete at heart, and I love everything, all the life skills that facilitates around it. And I love when it's humans like you guys that get to do this your whole life and propel all those positive vibes through such a common ground to the rest of us. Because I think most people have been an athlete, even if you haven't been like a stereotypical kind of athlete, you still have some sort of like competitive community in your life that you can identify with being a competitive athlete. So I think what you guys are doing are so special. And with all these grandiose things we're talking about with events and fundraising, these little things are so huge. So really the big things, as cliche as that sounds.
Completely. All the things that happen off the field, we place so much emphasis on athletes, but even the connections and friendships that parents make. Mm-hmm. There are so many little things that happen every day that are amazing. Just really fun. I talk about there are very few organizations that have joy in their mission statement. And it's fun to be able to say, like, that's what we do. We're for something. We're not against anything. We are for joy. We are for confidence. We are for, togetherness and sport. It's a really fun, meaningful place to be.
Yes. Well, our world needs a lot of that. So look alive and take care of yourselves, because we need you guys out here on the front lines, spreading the joy and keeping smiles on faces and people in practice fields and the whole nine. So, and I'm so excited about the school initiatives to get our young humans further in the mix and their families. And then on the corporate side, the businesses. So you have the whole world to take over. I hope you guys are ready for all of it. On that note, we've got about 8 or so minutes. I really want to be clear on how to get in touch with you guys, how to get involved. So tell me how volunteers find you, how families get involved, if corporate situations want to come sponsor or be a part of the corporate initiative. Give us all the details.
Always a great resource is our website. So please go to www.specialolympicsco.org. That's where you can find information on getting involved, of course, from an event participant, but also as a coach. We are always looking for more coaches. As a volunteer, we're always looking for more volunteers. As I mentioned, we have tons of events, and we're a small staff of about 40. We could not run the competitions we do without volunteers, both day of volunteers and coaches. So go to our website to get more involved that way. If you want to join a plane pull team, you can also go to specialolympicsco.org/plane-pull. And there you can see the dates, both the Broomfield date on August 28th or September 18th for Colorado Springs. Click on one of those and form a team. Again, for the plane pull in Broomfield, it is teams of up to 15. And for the one in Colorado Springs, it's teams of up to 10. So grab some friends. We also have volunteers on hand. I'll be there, ready to pull in case anyone needs some extra hands. Tim will be there. So you can go there, register, form a team, and then team members, as they register, everyone gets a fundraising page. So that's how it works. You then go ask your friends and family to consider donating to your plane pull team in support of Special Olympics. So that's how that would work. Same thing with Hall of Fame. On our website and event calendar, you'll see more information about our Hall of Fame event on October 13th. We would love anyone to join us. If you're just wanting to learn more about Special Olympics, think it may be something that you want to get involved with, go there. And then same thing with becoming an athlete. Please, if you have a friend, a family member who is interested in joining Special Olympics, I know I've said it many times, but everything we do is unified. So we have sports opportunities for athletes, or people with intellectual disabilities, and unified partners. So people with typically developing individuals. So pick a sport, pick a season, and go to our website and join us, or ask us questions and get more involved, because we want to have you join.
I love it. And if you're not even athletically inclined, or sports aren't your vibe, if you're just looking to volunteer and be a part of a family, this really is the organization for you. Even if you know nothing about sports, it's such phenomenal humans, and it's such a close-knit group, I want to say, of varsity humans, that if you're looking for that community, which I think a lot of people are, I have a lot of people come to me like saying, like, I'm just trying to get involved. I'd love to get involved with, volunteer. I've got some extra time. I'm retired now, what have you. If you have no experience in sports, I really think if you're looking for a good community to be a part of something bigger than yourself, this is a phenomenal stop. So I can't, just even my quick experiences doing the Polar Plunge and our podcast and some other stuff, like, it really is a great situation. It's a really good, positive thing to be a part of. So please do check them out. Check out their website. You will see myself, my friend Paula. I think we might be like the Beavis and Butthead of 2021 doing these events. We're kind of
love a good theme.
Yes, we're kind of a mess, but I promise you we're super fun, and we're gonna pull this plane just like we jumped in the lake, and all of our friends are kind of in equal space. So we're gonna be out there having a great time, probably making a fool of ourselves, but we're showing up for the cause. It's gonna be a blast. So come out and see us. Come see Tim and Megan. Are you guys? So Tim, you said you're pulling the plane. Megan, are you gonna be pulling the plane? Yes,
yep, we sure will be.
Okay,
Megan,
good.
will you send me the link for the plane pool team?
Tim, I will send you our link. We're SOCO strong, so anyone is also welcome to sign on and support our plane pull team. You can donate at specialolympicsco.org, or by going to the plane pull team, and our team name is SOCO strong. So I would encourage everyone to do that. And one last plug, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I mentioned the health screenings that we offer. So yes, if you are a healthcare provider of any kind, an ophthalmologist, a dentist, a general practitioner, we have health screenings in all different disciplines, from vision to podiatry to optometry, hearing, so all across the board. And we are always looking for healthcare workers to join us, because we can't provide the health screenings unless we have clinicians. And the beauty is that we will provide training and opportunity to gain experience in working with people with disabilities. So if you or someone who is a healthcare provider, please reach out to us. On our website. Again, there's just a reach out button. And same thing with your company, your organization, anyone who interacts with any person would be interested in taking part in our unified leadership training, let us know. It's a service that we provide. Again, there's no cost. It's about 45 minutes, and it's a really interesting, open-ended conversation, just something to get the conversation started. So please reach out to us. We would love to get you involved in any way.
I love it. Level up, get them to come out and have this, I don't know if consultation is the right word, but the coaching and the education in what's coming forward. It's 2021. We've got to get on the trend setting tip of all things what's next. And that's what's next. So get out there. I thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to see we're out in the mix. We're free. We can do the events. There's people out. I'm excited to see people enrolling and excited about Special Olympics and all these programs. I don't know how you guys manage it all, but it looks like you've got that turmeric and tequila balance down. And I'm so excited. Tim, I hope I can at some point see you and Mackenzie and some of the other athletes actually compete. I would love to experience an event in person, in addition to the fundraising events. But I love everything you guys have going on, all the positive energy and vibes you're putting into the world. So I really appreciate you coming on Turmeric and Tequila and sharing your world with us.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for being such a great advocate and supporter. So thank you.
We're here for it. We're here for all the good things. We need always the inspiration in our world. So we're happy to share your inspiration with our crew. But let's keep in touch. We'll see you at the events, and then we'll, of course, just check in and wrap again soon.
Sounds great. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.